When my mother told me I was worthless and a failure, she kicked me out of the house. "You'll never amount to anything," she said. As I walked away, shaking with anger, I swore I wouldn't let her win. What she didn't know was that I was going to expose her hidden secrets in a way that would destroy her reputation forever. I was 19 when my mom kicked me out. I still remember the exact sound the screen door made when it slammed behind me. It was sharp, final. Like she was closing a chapter in her life, and I was just a sentence she didn't like. I didn't have anywhere to go. My dad had been out of the picture since I was 10, and none of my family ever really talked to me much. My mom made sure of that. She liked to keep people separated, so no one could compare notes about her. But that day, when she said I was worthless, something inside me snapped. I didn't cry. I didn't even argue. I just stood there in the front yard, holding a cheap duffel bag with maybe 3 changes of clothes, and I swore to myself, I won't let her win. I won't be who she says I am. And I won't let her walk away clean. I crashed with my friend Josh for a couple of weeks. He didn't ask questions. Just gave me the couch, some frozen waffles, and space to think. And in that quiet space, the memories started coming back. All the strange things I'd seen growing up that didn't make sense until now. My mom always had money, even when she said we were broke. I remember her crying in the kitchen one night because she couldn't afford groceries, but the next day she showed up with a new handbag and a receipt from Nordstrom stuffed in the trash. She'd always say she had a hookup or found it on clearance, but she was lying. Now I was sure of it. I had her old laptop. She forgot it was still connected to her email because she gave it to me when she got a newer one. I opened her Gmail and just started digging. There were hundreds of emails to banks, credit card companies, even PayPal. At first, I didn't get what I was seeing. But then I noticed something that made my skin crawl: applications for credit cards in my name. I was 16 when she did it the first time. She used my social security number. She answered the security questions with things only a parent would know. I checked my credit score. It was wrecked. Maxed out cards I never opened. Late payments I never made. Collections I didn't recognize. She destroyed my future just so she could live like she was someone important. And it went deeper. I remembered she used to volunteer at this charity downtown, one that helped struggling single mothers. They gave out gas cards, baby supplies, stuff like that. I remembered the name and looked them up. Turns out the charity had closed down 2 years ago due to financial mismanagement. I started putting things together. Emails about extra funds, cash deposits that didn't match her paychecks, Venmo logs with weird codes like childcare and groceries but no notes in the bank account. I kept receipts. Screenshots. I made copies of everything. Then I found the smoking gun. A fake ID. She created another identity under a different name and was getting food stamps and housing aid under that name while also working as an RN full-time. She wasn't struggling. She was scamming the system and living well. The worst part? She made me believe I was a burden, that I was draining her, that I was the reason she worked late, why she was stressed, why she had nothing, when really I was just the shield she used. She got sympathy from people because she had a lazy, ungrateful teenage son who refused to get a job. That was her story, and she stuck to it. She used my failures to make herself look like a martyr. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I planned. Revenge isn't just about getting back. It's about showing someone who they really are, publicly. My mom wore this mask her whole life. Kind nurse, struggling single mom, pillar of the community. I was going to rip that mask off and make sure everyone saw what was underneath. First, I needed proof. Then, I needed a plan. I didn't go straight to the authorities. That would have been too easy for her. I wanted her to feel it. So I started with people she cared about. People who respected her. I knew exactly where to start. Her job. She worked as a registered nurse at a mid-sized private clinic in West Sacramento. Everyone there thought she was this tough but compassionate woman, always talking about her lazy son, who broke her heart. I emailed the clinic anonymously, attaching redacted copies of the fake IDs she used to collect aid. I included screenshots of her applying for assistance under a second name, while pulling in over $85,000 a year. I didn't use my name, just a burner email and a zip file labeled Urgent HR. Fraud and identity violation. Within 2 days, she was called in for a review. I only knew because my friend's aunt worked there and told him what happened. She denied everything at first, of course, but they started digging. Corporate got involved. They found the same fake identity on state aid records. She was suspended, pending investigation. Her badge was taken. She went home early that day, and I heard from neighbors she was screaming in the driveway on her phone. Next, I went for her reputation. My mom was a regular at her church, one of those suburban evangelical places that treated her like a saint. She ran the food pantry. Every Sunday, she dressed sharp, shook hands, told people how hard life was raising a son alone. That church gave her donations during Christmas. People helped with home repairs. They even gave her a second-hand car once, which she flipped and sold. I sent the pastor a long email from another burner account. I included every detail. How she abused the charity, stole from the pantry, filed for government benefits under a fake name while preaching honesty to the congregation. I knew that place thrived on appearances, and when appearances cracked, people turned fast. She was asked not to return until questions were answered. Then I started leaking her story online. I posted screenshots on a local subreddit, r/Sacramento. I told the truth without names, just enough detail to catch attention. Then I sent tips to 2 reporters from a small investigative blog that had covered corruption in nonprofits. I gave them everything, the emails, bank documents, even a partial confession from her old friend Marla, who I tricked into talking by pretending I was applying for aid and needed advice. That blog published the story. It exploded locally. Within 48 hours, people at her job, her church, even neighbors were sharing it. Everyone knew. Everyone saw her name. They ran a photo of her volunteering, smiling, handing out food to a woman holding a baby. The headline read, "Beloved nurse and volunteer accused of running years-long welfare scam." She called me that night. First time in months. "You did this to me," she said. Her voice was calm, but shaky. "I know it was you." I didn't deny it. I didn't yell. I just said, "I learned from the best." Then I hung up. The next day, she filed a police report against me. Said I hacked her email, forged documents, harassed her employers. She tried to flip the story, paint herself as the victim of a vindictive son. But she was too late. The paper trail was clear. The fraud was real. Her lies were exposed. But things weren't done unraveling yet, not by a long shot. After the article dropped and her world started crashing down, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd own it. Admit to what she did. Try to make it right. Instead, she doubled down. I got served with a cease and desist letter from her lawyer, accusing me of defamation and hacking into private systems. She was really trying to flip it all back on me. But the thing that shocked me most came from the letter's attachments, pages from my own sealed juvenile record. She'd pulled court documents from when I was 14, back when I got caught shoplifting a video game. I had never told anyone about it. It was sealed, but she still had copies. Probably from the lawyer she'd hired back then. She included it as evidence of my long-standing behavioral issues. That's when I realized she was going to burn everything to the ground, including me, if it meant saving herself. She wasn't just defending herself anymore. She was attacking me publicly. She told mutual family I was mentally unstable, that I had obsessions with revenge. My uncle texted me asking if I was okay. Said my mom called him crying, claiming I'd threatened to ruin her life. She even posted on Facebook some long, vague post about being betrayed by the one you love most. A photo of us when I was 5. Her playing the victim, again. But then something I didn't expect happened. Someone from her past reached out. It was a woman named Claire. She'd been friends with my mom in the late 90s. She saw the article and recognized my mom's photo. She sent me a message on Reddit, using a throwaway account, and asked if I wanted to know the real reason my dad left. I always thought it was just the usual fighting, money issues, distance. That's what my mom always said. He gave up on us. But Claire told me something different. My dad didn't walk out, he ran. My mom had stolen $12,000 from his personal savings without telling him. She used it to pay off a credit card bill he didn't know existed. When he confronted her, she claimed he'd abandoned his family and made sure he couldn't come back without looking like the bad guy. He tried to take her to court, but she played the battered woman card, got full custody, and smeared him to everyone. That's why he disappeared. He couldn't fight her. I tracked him down after that. Took me 3 weeks. He was living in Reno, remarried, no kids. I sent him a letter.
No demands.
Just the truth. He called me after reading it. Said he always wondered if I grew up believing the lies. Said he was sorry he didn't fight harder. I cried on the phone like a kid. He drove to Sacramento the next weekend just to meet me in person. My mother never knew he was in town. She didn't know we met. She didn't know we took a picture together in front of the same park she used to take me to as a toddler. I posted that photo on Facebook.
No caption.
Just the two of us smiling. For once, her lies couldn't rewrite what people saw. But even after all this, her job, her reputation, her mask, I still had one final move. And it was the one she'd never expect. I held on to the final piece until everything else had burned. She lost her job first. The clinic let her go after the fraud investigation confirmed she falsified her income and lied on state paperwork. Then the Board of Nursing got involved. They opened an ethics complaint. She tried to deny it all, but the evidence I gathered, emails, screenshots, her bank trail, was solid. She lost her nursing license 6 months later. Just like that, the one thing she'd built her identity around was gone. Her church dropped her. The charity group she used to volunteer with publicly distanced themselves, even released a statement calling her actions a gross abuse of trust. Friends disappeared. Neighbors whispered. Her name became poison. But I still had one thing left. The IRS. That was the part she never thought I'd go through with. She always thought I was too soft, too scared to play hardball. But once I saw the extent of her theft, claiming my identity to rack up debt, stealing charity funds, and committing welfare fraud, I filed a full, detailed report with the IRS's whistleblower office. It took time, but they launched a case. And I wasn't just doing it to hurt her. I was protecting myself. She'd ruined my credit, damaged my name. I needed a clean break. The IRS investigator called me 6 months later to confirm. Yes, she had committed tax fraud. Yes, she would be audited. Yes, they were opening a case to pursue civil penalties. I heard she had to sell the house to cover what she owed. The house she kicked me out of. The house I grew up in. She called again the day she got the final letter from the IRS. This time, she was sobbing. No anger, no accusations, just a broken voice asking me why. Why would you do this to your own mother? I let her talk. I didn't interrupt. Then I said, you used me. Lied to me. Destroyed my name. You said I was nothing. And you expected me to stay quiet. But I'm not your victim anymore. I hung up. I haven't heard from her since. Today, I'm back on my feet. I've rebuilt my credit with help from a nonprofit that works with identity theft victims. I'm going to community college, part-time, and working full-time. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I talk to my dad regularly now. We're slowly patching things together. Sometimes I drive by her old street. The house looks empty, run down, like no one's cared for it in months. Maybe that's fitting. She said I'd never amount to anything. But she was wrong. And now, everyone knows what she really was.